Yep. Jesus. We got a bunch of stuff growing in there. Welcome back to the Lost Cause Ranch. Back here with the 1967 109. Today is engine day. Last video on this, you guys want to see the original 2.6 liter that's sitting in here going again. I don't hold high hopes. We left off with some Marvel mystery oil in the cylinders to see if we can get her unstuck. Didn't go great. You guys saw the chassis. We have those pieces on order. And while we wait for that, we're gonna pluck this guy right on out of here and get it tore down. And hopefully she's savable. We'll see just how bad this guy is. It looks terrible, but you never know. We'll get the head off and see what we are working with. Chances are it's not gonna be any worse than this guy. That is the reason why Ted's 88-inch was locked up and did not turn over. So we'll see if we meet the same fate. This thing should come out of here in pretty quick fashion, being someone already stalled the transmission and the exhaust manifold. We don't have much to take off, just a few minor things, and we'll yank her out. Nap time for Sasha. She's so happy to have that cone on her head. There's actually something still in this guy. No, it's greenish. All right, now that Ted can step right on in there, we're gonna see. Just tightening that bolt.
It moved.
Did it? No. So yeah, she barely moved and then started tightening the bolt up. We're not gonna go down that road and break stuff. So we got her loosened up. We'll get it out. Look at how much more room we have without that radiator and panel in up front. Should swing out pretty easy. All right, so we have the lump out of there. That was pretty easy. It's always nice when someone robs all the parts off it already. So Sasha, health update. We have a cone and a donut, so we don't chew our tail off again. 2 tail surgeries because she didn't leave the stitches alone the first time. So now we got this contraption going on. She's not happy. But I don't know, looks comfy. Kind of like a neck pillow you have on the airplane. Sleep wherever you want.
Oh, yep. Oh,
Jesus. It's not what I wanted to do.
On the spongy side of the glove.
Like, oh, shit. How much oil does this thing have? I wasn't expecting that. This is quickly becoming a disaster.
This is what happens when you don't go home at 5 o'clock like you're supposed to.
It's a good thing I bought that floor scrubber at the auction, because I can't seem to do anything without making a mess. All right, so now that we made a little bit of a mess, we're gonna work on getting the cylinder head off first, and maybe we'll get some clues as to what's going on in there, and maybe not. Probably should have did that before I pulled the valve cover off. It's the same Ferrari stuff. So we got the valve cover off, rocker cover. I don't know, this thing's like twice my age, kind of out of my element on here. But yeah, we got like that off. Nothing too alarming there. Everything looks nice and clean. Intake port's not quite as great. We got a bunch of stuff growing in there. So that's awesome. But over on the exhaust side, that's our leading theory on the problem right now. And we mentioned that in the last video. This had no exhaust manifold on it. Opened the elements and it looks pretty bad in there. You can see all sorts of rust. Yeah, you can see the valve stem is in there somewhere. Right back there. Yeah, there is tons of crud in all of the exhaust ports, especially this one. So we could have the valve stuck as the issue. But let's get the cylinder head off, work our way down there. Leads us to a little interesting question. Was it the chicken or the egg? Did this stop running and then was kind of pillaged? Or was it just cheap enough that someone bought it for, say, the transmission or whatnot, and it was running when it was parted out, and then they took the exhaust manifold off and kind of destroyed some stuff? We don't know. We just do a different size on that one. No big deal. So there's what we look like on the bottom of the head there. You can see the half of the spark plugs that broke off are still there. Good sized valves.
Smooth rust though.
It's even rust. So I think right there lies some of our stiction. So I guess we'll get my mystery oil back out of the cylinders I got it into. That didn't fix it, unfortunately. But the ones I got it in do look worlds better than the rest of them. So, on to something there. So what we're gonna do now is pull the exhaust valve cover off and maybe the timing chain. That way we can isolate the valves themselves and see if the lower end turns. And then we'll know where we're standing here very shortly. So here's the moment of truth. Kind of excited to see this. This is way before my time. I've never personally messed with anything that
Upside down.
is, yeah, the valves go up instead of down, which is weird. You have stuff in parts cleaner, right?
Yep.
Well, that's cool. What that is I'm not sure, but it's still cool. Undo those.
We'll back the jam nuts off. We'll back the adjusters off and see if it'll move again without taking the cam off.
Yep. And then if we need to put them back in spec, it's on the valve cover.
It is. With the right plug. You cut the wrong plug. That's the problem.
As Ted just mentioned, the big problem is the fact that it's got the wrong plugs in it. It says auto lights. It's supposed to have champion number fours, yeah. Auto light 394s. Caused all sorts of issues. Still doesn't turn. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna vacuum these guys out. The ones I didn't get marble mystery oil in. Get all the junk sucked out. Load the cylinders back up. And then we'll spray down the valves because it is not the valves that are holding it up at this point. So what we did there is back off all the adjusters for the exhaust valves. That way we isolated the valves out of being the sole issue. Granted, I think those played a big part in it, but we have the cylinders stuck. So now we know that it is in the lower end where it is stuck. You ready to go home yet? It is interesting to see the cylinder shape when the exhaust valve is located in the block. So I guess this is kind of the old flathead style, except this is a mixture of both, being we have the intake valves still located in the head. That's neat. Quite a bit different than what I'm used to seeing, and always love different stuff. So I think there is hope for the old Westlake 2.6 to be running again in the Nada, which is super exciting. So number 59 will probably stay with the original engine, which is what you guys want to see. And I have already had some people, namely Mad Ford Engineering, shout out to them, reach out and offer to help us locate some parts for this guy. So we're gonna find out everything we need and get this guy on the road. This thing is actually incredibly clean in there. Look at that cam. Impressively clean. Same underneath the valve cover there. Everything looks pretty nice. So what we're gonna do is let this sit overnight and we'll see if it turns in the morning. That'll be on the next video, along with, we'll probably yank the rest of it apart, see if we can clean the cylinders up and see what we're working with. We are gonna get this guy on the road. That is for sure. We got high hopes now. It should be salvageable. Salvageable? I can never say that word. Salvageable.